The gas line?
No, the gas line will get worked out. I was just curious about this alternate fuel for the, they talked about the heat pumps. Well, I meant to ask that just so we don't have a tank somewhere. Number 394, FPC LLC.
Evening, I'm Bruce Cohen and I represent the applicant. This is an application for final coastal site plan approval on a 2-acre waterfront parcel at 94 Field Point Circle in the 2-acre zone. In front of you is the existing conditions, and I've marked in yellow the existing house. The application is to demolish that house and replace it with a house in generally the same location, but observing all setbacks, reducing somewhat the floor area, and increasing the green area. The parcel is kind of interesting in the sense that although it is a 2-acre parcel, the area showed in shading over here is deed restricted to prevent any development of that parcel. So there is a built-in open space area that my client must observe. The proposed new residence observes all zoning requirements. I'll review the CEO comments in a second. Its special permit is not required. No variances are required. There won't be any adverse impact to coastal resources by this project, as you've seen from the comments of Mr. Goucher. So let me review the comments, if you've heard enough about this, the proposed house. To begin with,
Was it ever your intention to submit a landscaping plan with this project?
Yes, not with this application, but we have engaged a landscape architect, and we will submit it before building permit.
Before our famous zoning permit?
Before your zoning permit, yes.
Well, you know.
But I want to talk about some other things about that. So
Go ahead. Sorry.
You've read conservations?
And I'm going to
Prepared to talk about
address it, yes.
Okay.
And we will also,
Did we also get a health approval on this? Or
Did.
not? We did.
was submitted today.
Okay.
You saw the DPW comments accepting the stormwater management plan. The comments are acceptable and will be adopted before building permit, zoning permit. The CEO comments, he had 2 comments. One had to do with the attic floor space. He wanted to be certain that we measured it up to the point where the height of the ceiling reached 7 feet, and we have.
He's talking about the knee walls. Because this is now a 3rd story, so you don't measure it's not an attic anymore. It's a 3rd story, so you have to measure out to the walls. And that's going to put you in some trouble, I think, with your FAR.
Is that the case? Doug Vanderhorn, the project architect.
Doug Vanderhorn. I'm not aware, I haven't found that regulation anywhere. Is it somewhere that?
It is a ZEO interpretation of, because your floor...
Is there a location for it that I could possibly find in the regulations? Because I live and die by those regulations.
Well, yes, you can talk to the ZEO about it. He's the one who cited you, but the practice...
I couldn't find it anywhere.
The practice in the town of Greenwich is that if you've exceeded that area it is no longer an attic. You're counting it as an attic, but it's not. Because the area...
I understand what you're saying, but I don't read that anywhere. and I don't believe I've been held to that standard previously.
I think you have, but let's put it this way, it's not the standard this commission, as you say.
I agree. You have not enforced this previously.
I think we have,
Yeah,
but
we do.
contrary to your assumption, this commission has enforced it, but the interpretation of it, we leave obviously to the zoning enforcement officer, and that's what his comments are. So you're going to have to get it worked out.
The regulation that we're following is 6134 that relates to the ceiling heights in an attic floor.
134 is the...
134 is going to be your retaining walls.
I'm sorry, we
That's okay.
talked about that in a minute.
Let's-
What I'm talking about is the definition under 22.1.
Look,
And that's the only regulation that we saw in terms of measurements on the attic floor.
If this were in a different zone that permitted, the fact is, you know what it is? I'm not going to try to say what the CEO said. You're going to have to work it out with him.
Well, what I read is in 65221, the area of the attic floor that is below a plane that is 7 feet above the finished attic floor shall be included. And that was the measurement that we took. It wasn't so noted, but we will note that, and that is the way we calculated the FAR. I don't know any other way to do it. If there is a regulation that I missed as well as Mr. Vanderhorn, who's a very experienced architect, I'd like to be pointed to it.
Well, perhaps we should ask the zoning enforcement officer to clarify.
No, I'd like to know what the
he's talking
regulation
about.
is. I mean,
Yeah.
these things aren't just made up, are they?
we don't have health department comments on this application yet.
Well, they got them tonight,
Yeah, I think
apparently.
we got
You do.
them.
Yeah, said- yeah.
They were submitted today.
Did not see.
The attic,
Did you find it?
no. In my experience, the attic floor is taken at an area at 7 feet, and including any dormers that drop to 5 feet. And that's been the interpretation I've already seen. I've never seen a knee wall unless that knee wall is at 7 feet or 5 feet and a dormer.
Well, we agree with that interpretation because that's what the regulation said.
Okay.
So I'll be glad to be pointed to something else, but we tend to read the regulations and apply
Give me
them.
the health department comments.
Anyway, let me go on, if I may, Mr. Maitland. The other issue that was raised by the ZO's comment had to do with 6-134, which is the face-to-face measurement. Now, I know that you're familiar with the fact that there is a conflict. The conflict is between 6-134 and diagram number 1, which shows the measurement not face-to-face, but face-to-back.
Sadly, the diagram was drawn before the 134 was amended.
Well, that may be the case, but my view is that where there's a conflict in the regulations, a court would uphold
the written-
the least restrictive one because
Least restrictive.
because zoning, as you know, is in derogation of common law property rights. And so if there is a conflict in the regulations, it's to be read, in my view, in the least restrictive way. And in this case, it does make a difference. I mean, it'd be nice if the commission were to straighten out the conflict.
That's fine. So well, let me see. What are you thinking that he's saying about the retaining walls?
That we have to measure it from face to rear of the next lower wall and not from face to face. Because we've measured it from face to face. Everybody's nodding, yes, that's what we did. And let me
That's what
go on.
134 says.
That's what 134
Oh, I
says.
agree.
We followed 134.
Okay. What he didn't put in his memo, but the fact is that the walls that you're putting, the lowest wall on here is a 6-foot wall, and it can only be a 5-foot wall. Because it is retaining grade, which ultimately, and that may have been what he was referring to in the diagram, which shows multiple walls going up.
So let me introduce Ted Malone from Redness and Mead, who did the engineering plans.
Yes, hi. My name is Ted Malone with Redness and Mead for the record. Before we submitted any applications, we coordinated this with the zoning enforcement officer, and the determination was the wall that was closest to the harbor wasn't a grade plane wall. It was actually a wall to hold back fill. So that wall was allowed to be at 6 feet. It couldn't be any higher because it's within the setback. But then the walls for the pool and close to the building, the dwelling, could only be no more than 5 feet high because they are grade plane walls. We did a section and actually I sent it and Doug Vanderhorn sent it, and we got both the same response.
Which may be the reason that Mr. Couture didn't refer to that issue.
Well,
Well,
Yeah,
it's
well-
because I'm thinking about it, because it's a,
I can tell you, I think it should go back to Jody. There's some other stuff, which is that Conservation specifically asked about the protection for the tree.
I haven't
We
addressed the
haven't-
conservation yet,
No,
but I'd like
but-
to.
I'm just going through some of the stuff
no,
that's
but he
open.
wants to,
Okay.
since there seems to be some disagreements, perhaps between the ZEO and the commission, I think we need to resolve that.
Yeah, I do too.
On both
It's not going to be
issues?
resolved tonight.
On the knee wall issue and the retaining wall issue?
Well, that and the retaining walls and what the height is.
And did,
And there may be other issues too, but on those things, I think we're getting into a difference of the regulations.
did Marissa hear from Goucher Bank?
No, not that I know.
Mr. Maitland, Doug Vanderhorn again. The 6-foot grade plane, or the 6-foot wall was not a part of the grade plane because there was a segment,
That's what I was looking for. Can you show me the segment that it
there's a segment
returns
of
to?
natural grade.
Can you show me where that is? Because I could not track it on your drawing. If there is a section that it goes to natural grade, you're correct.
Yes. There's a segment just in front of the lower 5-foot wall of natural grade, and the section was reviewed with the ZEO ahead of time.
We didn't have an opportunity
Right.
to see that.
Right. But he didn't comment on it because he was already familiar with that issue.
Okay. If you say
We
it's-
do have the section, if you'd like it submitted as part of the file.
I think you
think
have
it
to
would be
submit that
good.
as part of the record.
Yeah,
I think
we
it would
can
be
do that.
good that if it was submitted as part of the record, because if you did hit natural grade,
We understood what the issue was going to be, and that's why we explored it.
it wasn't very well spelled out. As
Well,
I say, I
not in your
couldn't track it through
Yeah,
on the
not in your
drawings.
application, yeah.
If you do that, that's fine, then I would
Good, we can do it.
withdraw the comment.
Nancy, you have a lot of questions too, right? Yeah, I have a whole, the thing with the docks.
But I do think, Katie, on this matter of the FAR and the walls in the attic and things, I think we need to get Jody to opine on
I-
that, so I think.
Yeah.
I agree.
Where I'm trying to go with this is that I think there's that, and there's several other things, some minor, some not, and we should just get them all out there, have the applicant resolve it, and come back.
I think it's better if they do, because it at least allows us to discuss with Jody his
Exactly.
decision. If we, Bruce?
Bruce, hello, Mr. Cohen. Mr. Fox is talking to you,
I was
sorry.
saying is, if we approved it, subject to Jody signing off, then you're taking it all that he doesn't have to agree with, and then you're
Yeah.
I understand.
And we have a laundry list of things, just some are really small, some are not small, and I just would like all of them to be done, and then we can
Clean it up.
clean it up and move forward. So, everybody's talking to you at the same time.
But I'm only listening to you, Mrs.
It was Mr. Fox that was
I only
hurt?
have ears for you.
Mr. Fox was hurt. Okay, so we have a whole bunch of things.
I want to hear the whole bunch.
And then
So
you
far, I've heard
address-
that knee wall.
You've
On
heard
the-
the knee walls, you've heard that we wanted a landscape plan, we've heard that we wanted to know
Do you
about
want a
tree-
landscape, can
Yeah.
we do it one by one?
Yeah,
Do you want a landscape plan before you will hear this application?
Before we close.
No, before we close it.
Really? And that's going to be the case on every residential
Well,
application?
because we wanted to deal with these trees, the large trees
Because
that are coming
because
down.
conservation is telling us that this is possibly the largest tulip
Tulip
tree in Greenwich, that it is very old and very important.
Well, I didn't hear the very important part. I'm sure it's very old.
She seems to think it is, and I'm not going to.
What are the other issues?
Okay, so then we have, you are working on this remediation with Deep. It's not finished yet, and we don't know where it's.
I'm sorry.
There's no remediation.
I know what you're talking about, I think.
Okay, Goucher. I have-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the note on page 113 of your material?
Probably.
If you are, that the note number 15, which is referred to there, was erroneously included in the engineering plan.
Okay,
And so you can take that off your list.
okay. The, I think, as long as you're, well, I think they're okay with the soil and erosion control plan. I think you can, somebody can explain how the Kertex is going to work. I don't think you would have to do that prior to coming back, but I think they'd like that. Nancy, do you want to talk about the
Couple of small things.
the easement issues and
Small
and the
things
dock
here.
question,
The,
and the phasing and the fill?
our staff notes talk about an encroachment on 98, the address 98 Field Point Circle.
I don't believe there is any.
Okay, this is just kind of
I saw that, and
the checklist. It's-
I looked very carefully, and I
Okay.
couldn't see one that was going to persist after the development.
That's the question. Is it going to persist? That's the, okay. The staff notes talk about the removal of salt marsh material.
That's that note 15 that was erroneously included,
Is that-
which you can...
That's not going to happen?
That's not going to happen,
That's encouraging.
yeah.
You have a septic easement in favor of the abutting property at 90, is that right?
That's right.
And that will remain.
Yes, it will.
The dock is utilized also by 94, is that right?
No,
The re-
94 has its own dock.
Has its own dock. Okay, that must have also been an error, because that's why I'm asking all these questions, is
Good,
to
no,
tidy
fine.
everything up.
Yeah.
I think it said
I'm
that.
sorry, I thought you
Well, the
were
dock
referring
is on some plans and not on others.
to... The abutting property owner has the dock. We have no dock.
Oh, okay. Your client utilizes the dock on the abutting property?
No.
Does not? Okay. There's just was a lot of weaving between these.
You're right, it's a kind of a complicated...
Well, it's just trying to
Yeah.
make sure we have it all straight. There are two watersheds that do not go toward the harbor on this property, as I read the information. Maybe I could have about 2 minutes of information about
You
that.
just want a description of that?
So, yes, just, exactly.
Ted, can you do that?
Which two watersheds are you referring
It
to?
just, that was the summary version I read, that there were two watersheds that do not go in the direction of the sound. Pardon me. Not true?
Yeah, no, the property's all tributary to the Greenwich Harbor.
All of it is?
Yeah, some of it is bypassing our infiltration system on the
Yes.
property, but
Yes,
it's all
yes,
going
I
to the
understood that.
harbor.
Okay. Bypassing meaning it's sheet flows up, is that what you mean by that?
Well, or it's intercepted through a catch basin into a
Okay.
pipe, and
Okay. Okay, Mr. Cohen, there, our planner gave us a kind of checklist, so there's looking for a table indicating excavation and fill quantities. Has that yet been supplied?
Have you done that, Ted?
actually, the table wasn't put on the drawing, but there was a note that was on the drawing. I believe it's note 32 on sheet SC4.
Okay,
So,
that provides that table, is that what you're saying? It's not on a
Yeah.
separate table, but it's on one of the...
It's in the note, yes.
Okay. And then the landscaping plan we've already talked about.
and the soil and erosion. Okay.
There's item number 10 on this at page 115 is a calculation of the existing northerly walk and curb encroachment and any proposed resolution with abutting neighbors at 98. No such problem?
As I said, there will be no encroachment that will
Okay.
continue.
All right. I think that was all the pieces.
Okey-doke.
So, may I get to the conservation report?
If you want.
Absolutely.
There is several issues that Alexandra raised, the first one being the landscape plan, which you picked up. The second important one, it seems to me, is that tree. So let me talk about the tree. The tree is located right now almost immediately adjacent to that house. There is a 60-foot tube right there. That's where it is now. See it? Mm-hmm. What we have done with...
60-inch.
Say it again?
60-inch, not foot.
60-inch, yeah. The new one is approximately... The tree is approximately there. So we've moved the house away somewhat, but the retaining walls will be pretty much in the same location that the existing house is now. So that is one reason that we're proposing to remove that tree, which is that it's, notwithstanding the fact that the root system is diminished on this side because of the location of the existing old house, it's very likely that in the course of removing the house and building the new walls, that the root system may be impacted. We would like not to remove the tree. We would like to try to engage an arborist to retain the tree. However, the next issue is this is exactly where the rain garden is located. And when I received Alexandra's comments, I asked Redness and Mead if they could come up with an approach toward managing the stormwater that would not require the construction or the installation of the rain garden at that location. And he will try to do that, so that if we can, one, eliminate the rain garden from our stormwater management system, and two, extremely carefully manage the demolition and construction project, there is a chance that we can retain that tree.
Okay.
We would prefer to.
Okay, so,
And what about the oaks that she mentions?
Well, in order to develop this site, all within this part of the property, there are some trees that have to come down. We are in the course of working on an extensive landscape plan, which hopefully will serve
think
to
that
replace
may-
those
I
trees.
think that may help.
ameliorate the situation.
But
so-
it would be good if you brought it, just because she raised a concern. We've lost so many beautiful trees, and she did raise this concern.
I agree, and, we'll do our best to retain that one. Nobody wants to take it down. So can I say that this is going to be left open subject to,
Yep.
one, our dealing with Jody on the knee wall issue, two, our returning with a landscape plan. Is there a three?
I don't think
Mr.
so.
Maitland, on the issue, I'm sorry.
Just tidying things is really just...
Well, I like to know what needs to be tidied.
Okay, what I'd like to have you do, and too, if you'll also submit that section for the record, just showing that wall, the
We can
wall
do
at
better
60
than that, actually. Ted just showed me an email that he had on his iPhone from Jody acknowledging those facts, and we'll submit that.
Can submit that, too.
Yeah. Anything else?
We had just, what we went through, I don't remember if it was Mrs. Raymer or me, but we asked for, there's a couple of comments that are in the staff report about getting the detail on the fill, and the excavation and fill, and also on the S&E.
Oh, the
plan.
amounts.
Okay.
The amounts of cut and fill.
And we took
I
the
think
cut and
that's in
fill.
the note that he referred to on
That, but
SE4.
somehow or other, staff didn't get it, and they're asking for it.
We'll submit a note on
And
that.
also, there's some information missing on the S&E plan. I think she just wanted the stockpile locations. Okay. So it's little stuff, but the staff asked for it, and we've got this question. We can resolve everything and be in good shape.
Mr. Cohen,
Yes, ma'am.
this paragraph on Ms. Mock's report, her comment is there's a huge amount of fill. We'll, I suppose, have
Sounds
the
like Donald
details.
Trump.
So if there was less of these retaining walls where some of these big trees are, would not
Well,
assist to save them?
we will need the retaining walls in order to build this house. Remember, this house is a smaller house than
I
there's
know.
there now. But to do that, and we've got to get the grade plan up.
Got it.
Just a quick question. You say that note 32 has the quantities on it. Do you know what that note says? How much fill is being brought in?
There's approximately 3,008 cubic feet of fill, 4,200 cubic feet of
3,000?
cut
Yards.
for a net of 2,588.
2,588 of
Yes,
fill?
Fill.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4, Northorn LLC, 24, 25. Our agenda says 25 and 25.